As far as my interest in helicopters, it goes way back to when I was 8 years old. I got my oldest brother bought me a helicopter ride at the Ohio State Fair, and to this day I remember getting that ride and thinking, man, one day I got to get me one of these things. And it took me 40 years, and I had to build it myself. That's my joke, but basically it's always been a passion. This thing kind of started out as a hobby. I spent 3 years making the molds and the tooling to make it. And then I had hooked up with another fella out of Canada, his name is John Updegrove, who had developed the Mosquito helicopter air, which is, there's no body or anything on it. It's like, looks like the stick helicopter. We jokingly call it the flying lawn chair. So he had done a lot of work as far as drivetrain components that, you know, a friend of him that also was involved in it, he and I really liked the way the mechanicals was done on his drivetrain components. So basically we merged the two. And I built the very first one for him in 2004, and within weeks I built my first one. And as I say, it started out kind of as a hobby, and then it just kind of snowballed as people seen them. Hey, I'd like to have one, can you make me one? And after a little while, we had been building boats at the time, semi-custom sport fishing boats. And 9/11 hit, and we went an entire calendar year, never sold a single boat. So we were, you know, really, the industry was struggling, and, you know, we were looking for something else. So after a couple of years, this thing kind of picked up. So then boat sales started to come back, but these sales had progressed. So we had to make a decision which way we're going to go. Either we're going to keep building boats, or we're going to. So the helicopters were new. It was funner. I built boats for 25 years, kind of been there, done it kind of thing. And so we decided, well, we'll just stop building boats and we'll build helicopters full time. So we've been doing that ever since. So that was in April 2004. We did our very first show, and we haven't looked back since. So now we have a brand new two-place machine, which is called the Swift. It's a side-by-side. It's a much larger helicopter. I finished the prototype this past summer, and it's in Canada right now doing in a flight test program. So hopefully by the end of this year we'll be ready to release that one. Our next big project, we've been building drones out of our current size machine for the military for about 6-7 years. And so this year we just started a project where we're building for civilian use. So that's a pretty huge project for us, where they fly totally autonomous, all computer controlled. There's no human intervention involved in them at all. And they're built for crop dusting, agricultural purposes mainly. I mean, currently we have 3 engine options that we do. These helicopters can qualify for ultralight category, which is a Part 103. It's called FAA regulations, which is, they refer to the aircraft, if you qualify for Part 103, it's an air vehicle, which it has to fall under a certain weight limit. It cannot exceed a certain speed, and it can only carry X amount of fuel. And those aircraft are, you can actually build and fly that aircraft with no registration, no license required or anything, but you are designated areas that you have to fly them in. Then the next step up is experimental, which means that basically those aircraft fly by the same rules as all general aviation do, but they're considered home or amateur built aircraft. So the owner has to be involved in the build, and then they register them, and you have to have a pilot's license, and you fly them just like you would if you had a Cessna or a Bell helicopter or anything else. So those are the 2 categories that we build. Facebook page is actually active. Every week there's changes on it, new videos on it. Every time we finish a new bird here at the factory and we do the test flying, usually Norbert will do a video of it, and it'll go immediately on the Facebook page. And then there's also the website. There's a link between the two as well. So it's at that Composite-fx.com.